Hey, you might not know it right now, but you really need one of these amps, and I'm about to explain why. So we live in a world these days where everybody's using modelers and all of these things. Everyone's getting rid of their 100-watt amps, even their 50-watt amps, and going either soundless stage, or they're trying to practice at home and they're doing things like modelers, headphones, and all that. But I'm here to tell you today that what everybody really needs to get in their arsenal is one of these little 5-watt Fender Tweed style amps, because not only do they just sound great and it just feels good to have the air moving around in your room, but like you can play these at a fairly quiet volume in your house, maybe even your apartment, depending on what you're doing. You can get a little loud. Like I was doing some decibel test earlier, and this thing, when it's just cranked up, gets up to about 100 dB, which can be kind of loud in an apartment, but if you find the right time, you might be able to use it. So what do I have here right next to me? So this is a 5F2A Princeton, which was basically built in the late 50s, early 60s, so like 58, 59, 60, something like that. I'm not an expert. Go watch the 5-Watt World short documentary on Princetons if you want to know exactly when it is. But this thing has more in common with a Champ than it does the Princeton and the Princeton Reverb that came after it. For one thing, these guys are 5 watts. So really the only difference between this and like a 5-watt Champ back in the day was this has a tone knob. And so it's a really great low-powered amp that can get you a really awesome overdriven tone. So let me put up a picture of the control scheme here. It's super simple. I mean, you basically just got, if I look at it here, you've got your fuse, your switch, and your on light. Then you have a tone knob that I almost never turn past noon. And then you have a volume knob that I was watching a Dan Cobb thing, and basically he said don't turn it past 3, and I kind of agree, because once you get past 3, it's just overdriving more, and honestly, you can do that, but 3 is where you get that nice mix of overdrive, edge of breakup, use your volume control on your guitar. I might go up to, what would that be, 5 or 6 o'clock on here occasionally, but 3 is just a sweet spot. And then you got your inputs. You got input 1, which is a little more higher gain, normal, and then input 2, that's a little bit lower, so if you want things a little cleaner. I use input 2 quite a bit, but today we're going to use input 1. So yeah, they're small, they're light. This model that I have has a 10-inch speaker. I know some people put 12-inch speakers in them, and I'm not sure if the original ones came with 8-inch. 8-inch is going to sound smaller and boxier, and kind of as you go for bigger speakers, you will get a bigger sound. Like this thing is plenty loud for my house. I use this more than I use like my deluxe reverb or even that Bassman back there, just because it just sounds so dang good. So I highly recommend getting one of these. So today we're going to run it through 3 different guitars. I got a really sweet 1960 Silvertone Dan Electro style guitar, so we're going to do that. It's got a lipstick pickup, which is pretty low output. Then we'll roll over to the good old Telecaster, which is kind of your in-between. I've got that Pink Paisley that I just got a little while back. We'll run that through with its pickups and kind of get a quick sample, and then we'll do my MusicMan, which you'll notice is not on the wall because it's over here on a stand where we're going to use it for this demo. So another thing, this particular model, so I got this clone. This obviously isn't an original, from a builder here in Austin, Texas, and it is super well built, sounds fantastic. He actually put a negative feedback switch in the back. So all you need to know of that is essentially it's a switch to control how much distortion you kind of get, or gain coming through it. So in the old amps, the original Champs and Princetons had no negative feedback, so they overdrove really quickly. And then the later amps, and especially as you go through Leo Fender's history, he added more negative feedback, which basically tried to add headroom to these amps. So this amp has the original negative feedback, and then it also has a thing where you can switch it off. I'm keeping it in the original because I like all the headroom I can get when I'm playing. And so yeah, let's quit gabbing and let's get in there. All right, let's hear this thing. I've already talked about how everyone needs one. Let's hear what it sounds like. So like I said, there's only 2 controls. If I'm taking a look at this thing from the front, tone is on about 4 because we're using my old Silvertone guitar. So we're going to use 3 different guitars for this. We're going to use a Silvertone with a low output lipstick. Got a Telecaster over here, my Pink Paisley, that we'll use for kind of the middle, and then we'll use that MusicMan to kind of get some more humbucker, so you at least get an idea of everything. So this thing's pretty bright, so I've got the tone on, oh, that's like 4 or 5 o'clock, and a thing I saw David Cobb say about Tweeds is to don't run them past 3 o'clock, and I kind of agree with that. We'll run this one past 3 just so you can hear it later, but right now I've probably got it at 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. When you do that, that allows you to kind of use your volume control to clean things up. So I'll show you that in a second. So yeah, we're into input number 1. Got it about half volume on the guitar, and we get. All right, it's great sound. It's totally what you would hear if you were a student back in the 50s. You got this thing for Christmas, and then you went to your teacher's house, and hopefully he has one of these. Anyway. All right, let's turn it up all the way full volume. Now the buzz, if you hear any, will be because of these pickups. Just a great sound with this guy. All right, let's change to the Telecaster. What do you say? All right, Telecaster it is. Let's do the same thing. We're gonna work on the neck pickup this time. Half volume with the neck pickup. Bring it up to full volume. Bridge pickup. Half volume. Ooh, a little bit more, maybe 3 quarters. And I can still hear myself. And so that's what I was talking about. Depending on where you have the volume, you're in the like 90 to 100 decibels. So loud, but not insanely loud. And I've kind of got this thing cranked up volume-wise about as much as I would want to. So, all right, full blast pickup. Is the sweet spot right there. All right, let's go get the MusicMan. All right, so now my beautiful, super awesome MusicMan Stingray. This is the closest thing I got to like a Les Paul, so the humbuckers are fairly vintage output, but it's plenty for this thing. So we're gonna do the same thing, half volume, then full volume. Let's do the neck first. And actually for this, we're gonna turn the tone knob up just a hair, kind of just straight to 12 o'clock for me. All right, let's go full volume. Bridge pickup, half volume. Full volume. Everybody should have one of these. You're not gonna get a ton of clean headroom, but when you're at home, you don't need it to be very loud. So I don't know if something like this is gonna hold up with a band. Maybe you could do some rehearsals with it, but man, you need one. They just sound so good when they're overdriven. See, I told you, these amps are fantastic. Everybody should get one. They're small, they're easy to move around. I don't know that I'll ever get rid of this. Even as I move through other amps, like, it's just nice to have one of these. Worst case scenario, I pass it down to my kids one of these days. Maybe look into a kit. I think if you're in the idea of building a kit, one of these would be a really easy one from what I hear. You know, to just have some fun and build something. So I highly recommend getting yourself a Tweed style Fender amp. Everybody should have one. So whether you got the money bags and you can get an original, or you want to get one of these repros that people make, or build a kit of your own, cannot recommend it enough. All right, well, thanks again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, do subscribe below. Tell me some of your favorite low wattage amps that you love, or just an amp that you're like, I'm never getting rid of this. They can pry it from my cold dead hands. Tell me what you like with those, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.